Well, good afternoon. My name is Carlos, and I'm the technical co-founder at Glia. And Glia is reinventing how businesses support their customers online. You know, when you are in a company's website or mobile app and you are having trouble getting something done, typically you have to call that company and start the conversation all over again from scratch. That's very frustrating. Glia enables a customer service representative from that company to engage with you right where you are online, see your screen and compile with you to go to get your problem solved. You can text or chat with the agent, you can video chat with the agent, you can speak with the agent either through your phone or computer while they guide you. And we work with companies around the world, mostly in the financial industry, banks, insurance, from local credit unions up to Fortune 100 companies. And a little bit of background on how we got here. I was a student back in 2012 in the University of Tartu, and during my last semester, Dan Michaeli, who I knew from Guatemala, where I am from originally, and Justin DePietro invited me to join them on building what was at the time Cellmove. And the problem looked very interesting to me, so I joined them, and we applied to many accelerators in the US, business accelerators, and that's how we became part of the summer 2012 class of Entrepreneurs Roundtable Accelerator in NYC. From there, we got mentorship, office space, and more importantly, like a great network of investors that we can speak with. And that summer, at the end of the summer, and after demo day, we got our first angel investment. With that money, we decided to start building our product, our technology, and our team here in Estonia, while validating our ideas in the US. And Estonia was a logical choice for us because the best engineers I knew at the time were in here. You know, high work ethics, very educated, and very talented. And since that summer in 2012, we have managed to double our revenue year over year. We raised 27 million in 2 rounds, the last one from Inside Ventures. And we have built a team of almost 100 people across Tartu, Tallinn, and New York. And that decision that we made back in 2012 to become a multinational company from the very beginning with operations here in Tartu and in the US has brought tremendous value to our business, but it also has came with a few nuances and challenges because of the cultural differences that I want to share with you and discuss with you today. Starting with communication, internal and external. Depending on where you are in your journey, internal communication can be more important than external communication. For us, back in 2013, we only had a small team of 3 developers here in Tartu, while my co-founders and I were in the US. And everything was very fluid. We had to react very quickly to what our clients were saying. We had only 4 or 5 hours during the day to coordinate work, to synchronize, and to decide what to do next. So we have to be very explicit on our expectations from each other. We have to be very explicit defining who was going to do what, when, how, where. And the difference between Tartu and New York is 7 hours. So for you as a founder, if you are here in Estonia and you have a business somewhere else, that means that you have to shift your schedule as much as you can to cover as much territory as you can in the US or wherever your business is, also here in Tartu or in Estonia if that's where you are. In retrospective, there were 3 things that helped us a lot during this time. The first one was to reduce the affinity distance. You know, the geographical distance is already there for you. You cannot change it. But you can make sure that your team is generally on the same page. You can see problems relatively from the same angle, and you are relatively in sync. You can be clear, and you can be also verbose. Being clear doesn't necessarily mean to be brief. You can be very clear and use as many words as you can to express what you want, what you expect, and what you need from your team. And last, establish communication norms. There were a few rules that were implicit in how we worked in terms of when was okay to have a call, what time during the day we can chat, and so on. So it's very important for you to establish how communication should work so you can focus actually in solving problems instead of how should I communicate with my team. And as our business started to take off, we have more clients, we started doing business, we had to develop lines of communication externally to the organization. We have now investors, we have clients, we have partners, and for us, most of them are in the US, and that can be a little bit of a challenge if most of the content and most of the information comes from here, from Estonia, and is created by non-native English speakers. You know? In my experience, those differences in communication can have a huge impact on your business. As you move east on the map, the level of straightforwardness that is accepted and encouraged increases, right? And for you as a leader of the group, it's really important to develop and make sure that your team has enough context about who your audience is. You need to help them to calibrate how to communicate with your different audiences, clients, investors, partners, whatever it is. And you create the guidelines, the support, the training, and they provide that context so they can develop that intuition and they can develop that empathy towards your stakeholders. Communication can be very powerful also for alignment and decision making. As we started to scale our team up, we started hiring more people. There were a few things that were very clear in our minds as founders and early team members, like our mission, your vision, our values. They were implicit, they were there. But when you have 5 people starting every month, that's very hard to infuse and to transmit to the newcomers. So we decided to start codifying and putting into words all these 3 things. And during that process, we went through many iterations, making sure that the wording was right, that the wording was understood by all the different audiences, people here in Estonia, in the US, so we can guarantee that we are inspiring the right emotions and we are transmitting the right ideas while codifying all these things. And it also gives you like an advantage because if you codify this and you make sure that everybody understands them and relate to, you will create a common language in how people in your company will talk about who you are and what you do. So it doesn't matter if you're speaking with a developer in Tartu, a designer in Tallinn, or an account executive in the US, you will understand who we are and what we do just the same. So codify, codify, and codify. Another aspect of having or being a multinational company is differences in culture, right? Starting with team events and socialization. Here in Estonia, a typical team bonding event can be going to the country, spend 2 hours outside when it's minus 15 degrees, have a few beers, have a good conversation, and then go into the sauna and do a few rounds. But how do I explain that to my VP of sales from the US, that it's okay to put on a swimsuit, and then go into a room that is going to be like 100 degrees hot, and that's going to happen with colleagues that are probably going to be liking some clothes. In all seriousness, all these differences in culture can have a huge impact in your business, and you as a founder have to tackle them up front. You need to understand that we are coming from different places, and you need to put into place codes or conducts, policies, process. So you're aiming that everybody in your company, while they're hanging out together, they feel safe and they are safe. Everybody feels comfortable and is comfortable. And as you build all these controls, you have to make sure that you explain to your team where you are coming from, that you are very transparent about why you are doing this, and more importantly, that they buy into it. You also want to be on sync with your values and help for cross-pollination. The picture that you're looking at on your left is a picture from a band that was put together by members of the team from the US and Estonia, and they met for the very first time 2 hours before going into play for the entire company. And for me, that was just a manifestation of us really using our values and using our values as guiding principles in our day-to-day to make decisions. Every decision that you make every day has to be guided by your values, especially in hiring. If you hire well using your values as guiding principle, that's a huge step forward and closer to create a very high-performing team, a cohesive team. As they meet, they will create new communities, they will create strong bonds that will carry you all through, especially the hard times. And we were very successful hiring engineers here in Estonia, very talented engineers. So we decided to double down in that success and hire in other departments. So now we have designers, sales, technical support, etc. And that meant that the dependencies in the company just increased, right? Now we have more dependencies between the US and Estonia. And that's a great opportunity for you if you can recognize what you guys are doing really well in the US, what you guys are doing really well in Estonia, and create opportunities and spaces so they can cross over. The picture on your right is the names or meeting rooms in the New York office. And they are named as Estonian cities. So every time that we have a new person joining the team and they go into a meeting and they see Saaremaa, that's a great opportunity for us to start explaining who we are and infuse all that history and all that culture that we have gathered over 8 years. So we can start saying, yeah, it's an island in Estonia, where we have our engineering team. You're gonna meet this person and that person. Last year we went there and it was really fun. So it's an opportunity for a start conversation. One very important aspect that you have to take into account while having a multinational city, multinational company, is the legal aspects and the legal implications of it. We were very deliberate deciding to have 2 companies, in Estonia and the US, but quickly we had to start answering questions in terms of what are the implications for ownership, what are the implications for taxation, what are the implications for intellectual property. And this is something that you need to have right from the very beginning, because if you don't, it can really limit your options and your opportunities for raising money or potentially being acquired. So my advice is, from the very beginning, seek for professional counseling, so you have everything well set up. And they can help you. They can help you to understand all the implications when you go into doing business in Europe, doing business in the US, entering into an employer-employer relationship. What are the implications in compensation, perks? What are your rights and what are your obligations? And it is true that in Estonia you can set up a company very quickly. In a couple of hours, you are up and running. But if your company and your business starts doing well, there is a high chance that that initial setup it won't be enough and won't be able to support the growth, and the transformation that a fundraising event triggers in an organization. You also have to be very careful when it comes to intellectual property and non-disclosure agreements, because again, this is another thing that can really kill a deal, can kill your company if you don't get it right. It can seriously limit your options for growth. And when you go into a fundraising event or you go for an acquisition or potentially be acquired, you need to show that you have all the documentation and all the legal means to prove that what makes your business special, it is actually yours. And last, taxes, one of those things that are absolutely certain in life. You have to make sure that you do all this well. Making a bad decision here can drain your resources financially and cut your runway short or even kill your company. So now, assuming that you have strong communication lines internally and externally, you have a strong team, with similar culture and similar values, and you have all the foundation, legal foundation to do business, being in 2 different cities in 2 different time zones is really, really great. It's very helpful, to be able to do work around the clock. Clients are generally very happy when they see their questions answered overnight, or they see a bug fix overnight. And you want to take advantage of that, and at the same time, set up a sensible cadence, so you set expectations is right with your clients. Doesn't matter if you are in Europe or in the US. And for us, it all has been very helpful for doing business, because if we engage in a sales cycle while our competitors are sleeping, here in Estonia we can create documentation, we can create demos, presentations, put together prototypes, and we can help our business team to go very well equipped into an RFP or a demo with a prospect. And all those things that I have gone through right now, for me, they are just a tool set. They are just tools that you can use as a founder to play the role that you have to play into a startup. You will have to wear many hats, and you need different kind of tools, and all of these are tools for you to be successful. And I try to summarize, what your role is and how you can use all these tools to play your roles. Because as a founder, you have to translate. You have to translate across different languages, across different cultures, across different nationalities. You have to communicate. You have to communicate your values, your mission, your vision, what are you doing, your strategies, so all your team understands it relatively the same. And you have to negotiate. You have to negotiate legal contracts. You have to enter a relationship with business, intellectual property, patents, and whatnot. You have to mediate into conflict, because that's inevitable, and actually it's a good thing if you manage your conflict well. And you have to engage a large group of people across different locations to do constructive work, effective work that inspires them, and work that creates something innovative. So if you want to share your experiences, if you want to bounce some ideas, I'll be happy to talk more about this. Stop by our booth. We are the purple booth. It's really hard to miss. And good luck.
Nice, thank you, sir. It is very interesting to lead a multinational team, a team working between countries. Mm-hmm. Do you think sort of finding compatible, for lack of a better term, compatible cultures is important here? I mean, yes, Estonian's a bit weird, American's a bit different, but it's easier to imagine you could actually find cultures that are further apart, and mm-hmm. therefore kind of less compatible, would need more of this work that you said, mediation, negotiation. How do you feel that Estonia and American cultures are intertwining?
I think if you are clear what is important for you as an organization, and that comes from the founders really, what are your values and how they manifest in a day-to-day, the cultural aspect of it is something that you can really solve. If you are clear on, again, like what is important for you as a company, you can always find those seats. Doesn't matter where you go around. You can find always people who loves to collaborate. Doesn't matter where you go. You can always find people who likes to challenge each other. Doesn't matter where you go. Yeah. So if your values are in the right place and you use them for hiring, there is a high chance that those cultural differences won't play like a crucial role into your business. And you can use those cultural differences as an opportunity.
Right, okay. Do you feel it's, or how important do you feel, let's say you're moving into a new market,
yeah.
and okay, you've just said that with the correct values and the correct leadership, you can mitigate cultural issues, but if you're looking to move into a new market, how much should you have someone from that culture in your leadership? Is it like, nothing, doesn't matter, we're such good, cool dudes that we can go to any place, or at what level, how high up should I have someone from that country to really make sure that things are taken care of?
In my experience from Glia, I think it's really important because otherwise you're just a stranger, right? Yeah. It will be really hard for you. You need to understand the culture of where you are. And for that, you absolutely need a partner into it, So yeah, I think it's very important to have people from where you are opening that market to join you, to be inspired also what you are doing and be, really passionate about it, that can help you to inspire others around them. And they, language is something that really clicks with people, just something as simple as being able to explain what you guys do in your native language can inspire a complete different set of emotions. So I think it's pretty important to have always like a partner that you can rely on and together get into that market.
That is interesting. When the message comes in the native language, I think that's an excellent point. Because I would even say, look, I also run a company based in Latvia, and let me tell you, there is no way I would let me or a bunch of Estonians run that company. No chance that we could manage a group of Latvians correctly. And they're only about 100 kilometers south, let alone on the other side of the world. I understand. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Please, one more round of applause for Carlos.
Thank you.